Today we're going to corner weight the Texas car and get it ready to get the body put back on. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Texas car. We're going to throw it up on the scales today. We're going to check the corner weights, and we're going to go through some of the process that you need to go through in order to balance the four corners of the car and get equal pressure at all four tires. We're going to start with the initial ride height of the car. We're going to set this thing just a little bit high. We're going to set it at about 4¼ inches from the bottom of the 4-inch main tubes of the car in the front, and about 4¾ inch in the back. And what that's going to do is going to give us just a little bit of leeway, because as these cars are driven on the road, the coil springs are going to settle a little bit. We've found in our experience they settle anywhere between a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch. And I like these cars just under about 4 inches in the front and just under 4.5 inches in the back. So we're going to start there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go around the car and we're going to check all the tire pressures. Tire pressure on these is very important. You're going to want to start out with about 10 pounds of pressure for every 100 pounds of weight. So with the car weighing just over 2,000 pounds, that's going to put us right in the low 20s. And so with the 17-inch wheels and tires that are on the Texas car, we're going to start at 21 to 22 pounds in the front and about 19 to 20 pounds in the back. And we want to make sure that we're even on pressures side to side. So both the back tires are exactly the same and both the front tires are exactly the same. Front to back isn't quite as critical, but we do want to make sure that our pressures are consistent when we're putting the car on the scales. After that, we're going to disconnect the sway bars. You don't have to disconnect both sides of the sway bars, but you do have to disconnect one side that link the two sides together. If you don't do this, what you're going to do is you're going to have a false weight of the vehicle, because as you're adjusting the coilovers, the other side of the car is going to be affecting the side that you still have connected as you're adjusting the coilovers. So you've got to make sure that you disconnect the sway bars. After that, we'll stick it up on the scales, and then we will go ahead and adjust coilovers as necessary. You always want to make sure before you start any adjusting on the suspension that the sway bars are disconnected, at least on one side. Otherwise, it's going to throw off all your measurements. So even before you set just ride height, disconnect your sway bars and then set your ride height. In this case, we're going to be corner weighting the car, so we're going to leave them disconnected. And then after all the adjusting is done, then you can reattach the sway bars. All right, with the tire pressures all checked and sway bars disconnected, we went and put the scales underneath the tires, all four corners. And we can turn the computer here on the scales. We're going to select number 3 for road racing. And then we'll hit right rear, left front. And it's showing us that we've got 49.8% on our cross weights, which is pretty darn good. So we will take those off, go with the opposite corners, and we've got 50.16. So we're just going to leave this well enough alone. It's been my experience that the more you try to mess with these things, basically If you're fighting over 5 pounds, you're never going to get there. Every turn of the coilover is going to change it more than 5 degrees. And if you try to do it a quarter turn, or you're affecting the other corner, and it just doesn't work. So if you get this close on your first try, just leave it alone, because you're not going to make it any better. So with that, we're about done with the corner weighting on the car. It's looking really good. I had a guy come over just a little while ago, interested in one of these cars, and I spent some time with him, so that kind of messed up the shooting schedule, but we're going to press on and get this car off the scales, and it's ready to go. We're going to see if we can't put a few miles on it here in the neighborhood and make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to. And we're getting the body back here in a couple weeks, and we'll be able to finish this car all up. So all right, I think that's going to wrap things up for today. We got really close in the initial setup on the corner weights for the Texas car. Sometimes that happens. Other times it's a battle, going from one corner to the next in order to try to get the corner weights just right. We will be putting the car back on the scales once the body is back on the car, and we have the seats and all of the stuff that is going to go in the car back on it. Just to double check the corner weights, it really doesn't change that much from the time that you do the initial corner weighting and the front end, or in this case, since it's IRS, the four-wheel alignment, and putting the body on. But we'll double check it anyways. And once we're sure everything's where it needs to be, we'll wrap up the car, and then we'll get it ready for delivery. I want to thank you guys all for watching. We do appreciate the fact that many of you are subscribing. Again, these videos are for the people that we're building the cars for, but if any of you can get some good pointers or tips out of what we're doing here, hey, that's great. We will see you guys all next time. Have a great day.